So Karine Jean-Pierre is out with a new book and a new hairstyle. Seriously, she does this a lot. First, it was very short. Then her hair was longer than that. And now it's really long and she's gone totally blonde. The book is called Independent because Karine left the Democrat Party because, according to her, Democrats don't care about black women.
As a black woman who was obviously part of the Democratic Party, and I'm speaking for myself here. And again, I'm trying to start a conversation, which is kind of the whole point of the book. But black women have been the backbone of the Democratic Party. Black women have been on the front lines of the Democratic Party. And what I have seen over and over again is that for the most part, in large part, we are left out of the process, or we are forgotten. I feel like the groups who have stood by the party leadership get forgotten and are not included.
Okay, that's just a really strange thing to say, considering that Kamala Harris, the party nominee less than a year ago, is a black woman, and that 3 out of the last 5 Democrat nominees have also been black or biracial. Kamala Harris, Indian, Barack Obama, half white, raised by his white mother and white grandmother. But this is what we've come to expect from our history-making press secretary, our first ever black queer female press secretary. Don't take our word for it. She reminded us all the time.
This is a historic administration. I'm a historic figure, and I certainly walk in history every day.
I am obviously acutely aware that my presence at this podium represents a few firsts. I am a black, gay, immigrant woman, the first of all 3 of those to hold this position. As the first openly queer person to hold the position of press secretary for the President of the United States, I would not be here today if it were not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me.
And now I think about Caroline Leavitt, and I'm so glad that she's the press secretary because how good a press secretary she is. And joining us now for more, the host of the Sage Steele show, Sage Steele. Great to see you again.
So good to see you too, Robin. I am so grateful for Caroline as well. The only thing I miss about KJP is her wardrobe. I did like the way she dressed, but that's where I'll leave it.
Are you serious? Did you like the way she dressed?
I did. I thought
You
she did a
did.
great job. That's where it ends, though.
Okay. So the book, it's really more of a pamphlet. It's 190 pages long. And if you take out the beginning, it's less than that. She never once in 190 pages talked about Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline. Take a look.
I have to say, I thought you were going to say that try as you might to convince Joe Biden to drop out of the race, because what we were seeing is what you were seeing, and he was struggling and couldn't do it. I thought you were going to say you were angry at that, but mostly
I did too.
what you said in this book is you're angry at the people who tried to push him out.
Yes, that's correct.
Some Americans are going to say, seriously?
Seriously, what do you make of that, Sage? She never mentioned what was going on with Joe between the ears.
Which maybe is the reason why, despite her book being released over the summer in June, I believe, maybe that's why there's no sales, and she now has to go on this book tour afterwards, months afterwards, because people see through it. And the fact that you leave that out is so glaring and obvious. I also think it's just kind of short-sighted and poor strategically, because look, she's had others come before her now. I mean, Jake Tapper already did this, right? To come out and acknowledge that they weren't true and their reporting weren't honest, weren't forthcoming. So it wouldn't have been that hard for her to do the same, right? But maybe it's just because for the last, I think she was press secretary for the last 2 years of his presidency. She towed the company line day after day after day, and that would acknowledge lying. So I guess I don't blame her in that way. And I don't know that the bar could be any lower already for me as far as the level of disappointment. But really, Jake Tapper did it, right? I mean, I think it was short. It was ridiculous, but I'm not surprised. I kind of miss having her out there every day to make fun of. And I try to be a good Christian woman and not make fun of her. But my goodness, this is another reason.
No, I feel the same way. And you're right. Jake Tapper is totally just a ridiculous human being. He wrote a book about the cover-up that he took part in. Think about that. Kamala Harris, so she just came out with a book too. Sales are not good. She wants to be president, though, in 4 years, and that's the difference. And it's the exact same thing. And I'm just wondering, why isn't anyone willing to tell the truth about what was really going on behind the scenes in that White House?
Again, I think it would implicate all of them that they were hiding the truth / lying this entire time. Listen, Kamala's out there lying and saying it was the closest presidential race in history too, right? I mean, the credibility has been gone for a long time. It's been almost a year since she got crushed in the election. And so right now, these people are just trying to stay relevant and make some money. But at the end of the day, by doing what KJP has done, which is now step away from the Democratic Party and become independent, she's got enemies all over the place now. So this is really a desperate act. Maybe it would I think it would have helped her to come out and just be honest about it. I mean, I don't know how Jake Tapper's book sales are, but at least he came out there and at least he acknowledged it. And he had to really take some hits. I remember him going on Megyn Kelly's show, and she just, I mean, it was a beautiful thing to watch. But that would take some sense of decency and humility, and I don't think many of these people have it. I do want to point out, I love the soundbite that you ran again about being the first openly queer woman, Black woman, all of the things.
Immigrant.
I mean, that's the only thing she's right about. That's it. Everything else has been a lie.
That's it. We were celebrating that. Things that should not matter. Immutable characteristics. Things, look, you're born one way or another, and we're told to celebrate that. And that just never made any sense to me. I want to ask you about that, though. You are biracial. You've been very open about that. Barack Obama, biracial. He identifies as Black. That's his prerogative. That's fine. His white mother raised him. His white grandmother raised him. His dad abandoned him when he was a kid. Kamala Harris was like Indian for her entire career, including when she dated Willie Brown, when she ran for the Senate, but then suddenly became Black when it suited her politically and she was running with Joe Biden. Do Democrats have a problem with Black women? Is KJP onto something by saying that and writing that?
It's so lazy. It really is. And I'm sorry. Look at who the vice president was for the last 4 years under Joe Biden. She's a woman of color, okay? And if you look at her and the way that she chose to identify at times, Black.
Right.
And I believe the Democratic Party is one that catapulted her right over Joe Biden. For as much as I think those of us with a brain were not fans of Joe Biden and the way that he, quote unquote, led, we still didn't like I didn't like the way that they treated him at the end. I thought it was disgusting and gross, and to put her on top. And so they were, remember when Barack Obama is the one that went into Pittsburgh right before the election and really condemning and really trashing Black men for not going along with this Black woman and supporting her. So they pick and choose when they want to. And at the end of the day, it's just convenient and it's fodder, and it gets really tired. When people cry racism all the time, unfortunately what that does is it takes away from those moments where there really is racism, there really are some issues, and that's what Karine Jean-Pierre has done, that's what Kamala Harris has done, that's what Barack Obama has done. These are self-inflicted wounds, and that is why so many people have no sympathy any longer.
Such a good point, Sage. By the way, she did say that she wouldn't vote for a Republican candidate, and she's now claiming she's a registered independent. You're not an independent if you're not open to voting for a Republican. Just Ralph Nader and
without
and
even
Democrats.
knowing who the candidates might be. She just flat out says she's not going to. Again,
exactly.
The woman has lost her credibility a long time ago.
I agree. Sage Steele, great to see you again tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.